40 people were laughing at me and my boss was grinning like he'd just told the funniest joke in the world. He'd stood up at the front of the room, taken credit for the biggest deal I'd ever closed, the Halligan account, 40 grand a year. And then, while the applause was still going, he'd looked straight at me and said it. "Remind me, what is it you actually do here again?" And the room laughed. Actually, laughed. 40 faces turning to look at me, my own face going hot, staring down at the table while my boss milked it. I closed that deal, me. 4 months of work, 7 site visits, a weekend rewriting the proposal because their finance director hated the pricing. Darren had been in one meeting and he'd spent it on his phone. And now he was the hero and I was the punchline. But here's the thing he didn't know, the thing that turned that room full of laughter into the worst mistake of his career. The Halligan account didn't sign because of the company. It didn't sign because of the pricing or the brand. It signed because of me. Because their finance director, a woman called Priya who did not suffer fools, had told me, quietly over a coffee at the end of the last meeting, that she'd been about to walk away until I stepped in. And she told me one other thing. She couldn't stand Darren. "That man," she'd said, "talks to me like I'm the work experience. If he was my account manager, I'd have gone with your competitor months ago." I'd smiled and said something diplomatic and filed it away. Sitting in that meeting room, my face burning, listening to 40 people laugh at me, I stopped filing it away. I took out my phone and I started to type. I didn't do anything stupid. That's the mistake people make. They fire off something angry, something they can't take back, and they hand the other person the high ground. I did the opposite. I got very calm. That evening I sent Priya an email. Warm, normal, professional. I said it had been a pleasure getting the account over the line, that I'd loved working with her team, and, this was the only line that mattered, that I wanted to introduce her to the person who'd be managing the account going forward. Because Darren had announced in that same meeting that he would be taking personal oversight of Halligan now that it was such a flagship win. He'd stolen the credit. Fine, but in stealing it, he'd also put his own name on the one account run by the one client who despised him. He'd walked into it himself. I just held the door. Priya replied within the hour. 3 lines. I still remember them. "Lovely to hear from you. Can I ask, are you saying Darren will be my main point of contact now, not you?" I wrote back carefully that yes, Darren would be taking the lead, and then I waited. I didn't have to wait long, because Priya did not email me back. Priya picked up the phone, and she did not call me or Darren. She called our CEO. I found out what happened in pieces, the way you always do. First, the CEO's assistant walked across the office and told Darren the CEO wanted to see him. Now. Not later, now. Darren stood up, straightened his tie, and did the little confident jacket tug he did before he thought he was about to be congratulated. He went in. The door closed. And here's the part I'll never forget. Through the glass wall of that office, I watched Darren's face. I watched it start as a smile. I watched the smile fall off it. I watched him sit down slowly. I watched him lean forward and start talking fast, his hands moving, and I watched the CEO not move at all. Priya had told the CEO the truth, that the account had nearly gone to a competitor, that the only reason it signed was the account manager who'd rescued it, me, and that if Darren was allowed anywhere near her business, she would take that 40 grand a year and walk to that competitor by the end of the month. Darren did not come back to his desk. He was moved off the account that afternoon. Quietly, no announcement this time. The Halligan account was handed to me, officially in writing, my name on it. The CEO called me into his office the next day and said, and I'm quoting him exactly, "I understand we very nearly lost that account, and I understand why we didn't. That won't be forgotten." It wasn't forgotten. I was promoted 11 weeks later. Darren left within the year. I heard he tells people he restructured out. Everyone who was in that meeting knows what actually happened. He asked me in front of 40 people what I actually do here. I closed the account that paid his wages. That's what I do here. Has someone ever humiliated you in public and handed you the exact rope they'd hang themselves with? Drop it in the comments. And if you want more complete stories with no part 2s that never come, follow the page. New story every day.